Hello? Are we go? Are we a go? Are we here? Hi! Welcome back to the very start of stream. If you saw anything just now, no you didn't. Teehee. Alright. This is gonna be my first time streaming. I love seeing this, honestly. It's gonna be my very first time streaming Overwatch. I apologize in advance if my gameplay is not great. I have so much to do. I did not get my weekly last game, and apparently there's whatever this is, and I don't really care to do that. But yes, let's go. This counts, right? We're live. Everything's working. This game won't fail me either, right? Ooh, I got the Ana skin. Ooh, I really want this skin. If I get to at least here, I'll be good. Because I don't really care. Maybe I want this. Maybe I want this. Maybe I want this. Okay, wait. I want this too. Hold on. Okay. Maybe we do have to finish. Maybe we do. Whoa. Okay, this is new. This wasn't here before. Oh, everything is new. Got it. Okay. These are definitely not new. I got these in like Overwatch 1. Is there a button to like mark? Okay, perfect. Do you play any of these characters? No. What do you mean? What do you mean? I play Mercy. I play Juno. I play the cute characters because I'm biased. What? 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 Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Wait, I love it. Okay, this is very basic. She's just standing there. If anything, I would just want the skin and the emote. But I feel like that's already gonna total the amount. Where's the pink? There's like pink Mercy and pink Lifeweaver. I've been waiting for that. Oh. Okay. I think my cats are being rambunctious in the back. I love her. Okay. What is happening here? Esports. I don't know anyone who gets these. Unless it's to like match with their friends. Once again. What's that? Is that a group? The OWCS partner team bundles will be available in the in-game esports shop through There's a lot of new things because they are doing events in China and there's a lot of China exclusive stuff. And I'm very sad about it. Let's do quick play so I can be support only. Let's see. Let's settle in here and get comfy. If I stop speaking, if I stop yapping, I apologize in advance. Shooters kind of take up all of my brain cells. Let's do challenges. First win of the day. Win a game. Emote hello to a teammate. I can do that. Weekly. I'm like way behind on the weekly. Already a game. Why did you choose already? Oh. I don't like Flashpoint. Wah. Wah. Who should I play? Oh my gosh, I think I need to not play somebody in my top 3, which is I think Lifeweaver, Mercy, and Ana.
Welcome to Nunjang City.
And I want to save Juno for what the hell? Junk City. I want to save Ana for Juno for Stadium. Welcome back. Thank you. I wish I was in Dune. How is the game, by the way? Or how is the quality?
I'll find my own path.
It is time
Oh,
someone cleaned up this lawless wasteland.
Good to see you.
Her rain jacket sleeves are glowing.
Watch your flanks. They might try something.
Quality is really good. Okay, good. Oh wait, I have to aim with.
Roger that.
Don't look at my aim. Don't look at my aim. Just look at how much I heal because that's what I do. Smile. That's all I do.
Initial flashpoint. Arena.
A Sojourn and a Tracer.
Time to take
Oh, I'm
action.
scared. I like that skin. It's quick play. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Ow! Oh my goodness. Nobody wants the point? Okay, I'll take it. Don't die, guys. I got this. Don't die, guys! Oh. Oh my god, she lived. I have to say hi. Hello. Oh, I missed. I didn't say hi to anybody.
Hey there.
Okay, I said hi to the Arisa. Also, my sense is really high, so...
Over here. I'm here.
Woo! Oh, why did I do that? Oh yes, I can totally solo a Sojourn. Even saying hello. Yeah, you have to say it to a teammate specifically, so you have to look at them and do it. Never pick a character that requires you to aim. I was a Junkrat main for so long because I didn't want to aim. I hit my shots sometimes. The high-pitched clinking sound is a headshot. Notice how you only heard it once? Only heard it once and never again. Oh no. Oh, she killed them both. Oh, ignore that. No!
Breeze brings relief. Attack the objective.
Okay, okay team, okay team, okay team. What if we went to the objective? Yeah.
Arigato. Soothing your wounds.
Flashpoint unlocks intense.
Why does everything feel fast? Do I usually play at this sensitivity? Woo! No, thank you. That was a dead body that I shot at. No! No! Okay.
Let me balance you out.
Okay, wait. I'm scared. Don't die! I will wait for our tank before I ult.
I've got you.
Minor perk unlocked.
Since I am not...
Let the Kitsune guide you. Protecting.
Oh no. He's behind me, isn't he? He's behind me, isn't he? What the heck? Okay, guys. Don't look at my damage. Oh my god! Okay. I need to start throwing kunais. Watch them call me out. Ellie, why aren't you healing? Or doing damage? Sorry! This is warm-up. All my games are warm-up, unless I'm doing good. Oh god. Go away, that's the tank. Leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. I see you, Juno. I don't want to pay attention to you right now, though. No! Whoa. Okay. Leave me alone! I feel like every time I try to heal, somebody's dying.
Let the kitsune guide you.
Whoa.
Now go get him.
What does the ult do? It makes you pew pew faster and kinda heals you a little bit. Yeah, my healing's back up.
Like a gentle rain.
Watching this. Ha! Okay. No! No, no thank you. No thank you. No! Ha!
Time to get clever.
No! I'm coming! No! Dare I go? No! I probably could have gotten there a lot sooner, but...
Feels good, huh?
Oh my god, I hear him farting.
Flashpoint junkyard.
I hear Hog farting behind me.
私がついてる。
I'm getting dizzy with my own sensitivity. Is that weird? I feel like I haven't played in so long that I'm not used to this speed anymore. What are you doing there? What are you doing there? Ooh, okay. Maybe I do still aim.
I'm Dune. The breeze brings relief.
This ends now.
No! She died.
That feels much better.
I went there to help her and I just let her die. It's okay. Ah! Heckin' Hanzo! Whoa, a widow?
Soothing your wounds.
Oh, that's scary.
Let the kitsune guide you.
No! Don't die, don't die. tank is like very aggressive, and I need to follow her, but I'm scared.
Like a gentle rain.
No! Oh, okay. Okay, wait for me. Wait for me. They just left me!
Flashpoint unlocks.
This is scary.
The breeze brings relief.
Okay, wait. Oh, they have an Anna. I think I Suzu'd her. Stop dying. Okay.
It's go time.
My gift to you.
Ooh. Oh my goodness.
Enemy here.
Are we all here? We're all here? Okay.
Let the kitsune guide you. Walk away.
Oh my god. One of these will hit, surely.
I'm on my game now.
Orisa doesn't have a shield anymore. She does if she specs into it. There's like perks that she can choose to get it back. I think she kept her the twirly thingy though.
Soothing your wounds.
Oh no! Okay, wait. Oh,
Victory.
we win! I love this. This victory pose.
Play of the game.
Oh. Okay, wait. I didn't even see their name until just now. Okay. Okay. That sure was a play of the game. Half of it was jumping up the boxes. Ah, sure, okay. No one did better than that. Oh, already?
Select
Okay.
a map.
Control push. Actually, like... What? Mercy's feet. Okay. I forgot to vote. It's fine. I like both.
Welcome to Esperanza.
Alright, Mercy's feet. I don't want to pick Mercy because I feel like... I don't know who to be because... I don't know how to... What's his face? Maybe... These guys are too mobile, but I don't want to be Mercy. You need to pick someone else for my challenges. Come on, Mercy's feet. You know who you want to be. I'm scared. I'm scared to lock Mercy in. I'm not gonna lock Mercy in just because of their name.
Path.
Bottom 500, just like me.
5, 4, 3.
Oh, they're not locking in.
One.
Maybe maybe they're disappointed.
30 seconds.
Moira! Oh,
Let's not keep
a
you waiting.
Moisey shipper. Some of these ship names are so weird. Moira and Mercy are called Moisey. It was really weird to me at first because it sounds like a word I don't like. But they have an Anna.
Objective unlocked.
Okay. 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 Careful.
Moving up barricade. Keep the path clear.
Well done. Let's keep
I want to
it
play
up.
some Stadium.
Heads up.
I need healing. There goes my Suzu. Alright. Freya and Anna are gonna take up all my Suzus. Ah, I don't have Suzu.
Viable progress.
Ooh. Ooh. Not sure who died.
I'm on my game now.
Scary. Oh, it was Anna. Oh, she has the skin.
We've lost possession of the robot.
Okay, I learned from that.
Okay, we have ults. I don't think they've ulted yet, though. Is this the G.I. Joe skin? It is.
Got one here. Under my protection.
Whoa.
Counting them down. Let the kitsune guide you.
Okay, okay, come on. Oh, there's a room there now? What the hell? What the hell?
Feels like summer.
How did my 2 DPS die to... Oh no, oh no, all the ults. How did my 2 DPS die to a... Doing a lot of damage. Give me a
Time to get
step.
clever.
The soldier said that?
Watch here.
Dutch
Okay.
Uh-oh, they're pushing.
She is hitting all her kunais. I'm not. That's the difference between us.
Pick it up. We're about to lose our lead.
Okay, wait. Oh my god! I don't think I'm doing anything.
Let's get back to it.
It's okay. This is just a warm up. Or nor, or nor, or nor. Or nor, or nor, or nor. No! Okay.
They're moving that barricade.
Enemy forward spawn room activated.
I'm... Okay, maybe my aim is better. But she's just shooting more than I am.
Under my
Right?
protection.
Right?
For something more.
Stop the enemy immediately. They have surpassed us. Target marked. Be healed.
Whoa.
Pushing their
I don't like that. Okay.
But let's
My
move.
gift to you.
Efficient
Okay, I held my ult.
Appreciate it. ready to overclock. With me?
Just a test stream and a warm up. Exactly. Because my main game isn't working right now. I'm streaming into the right category, right? I'm not accidentally still in Dune. I swear I changed it. I had to like restart my OBS because OBS likes to like not listen to me.
Don't stop now. We're almost in the lead.
Oh, I hate this stupid bubble. Oh no.
Let the kitsune guide you.
I don't I don't like it.
Robots pushing.
Yeah, I held it for a good... Okay, she's okay. She's okay. I was worried for nothing.
Occurrence.
Hello. Oh, if you say hello, the robot says hello too.
A taste of poison to overclock.
Wow.
Moving the barricade.
Someone's behind. Ooh. Oh no, Tank. I can't heal you, Tank. You're behind a bubble, Tank. No! That was it.
Approaching the final.
Oh, at least the BAP died still. Oh, they don't have an Ana anymore. I don't want to go that way.
Yeah,
60 seconds remaining.
Alright, team. Don't leave your healer to be in the front.
enemy here.
Ah! Okay, where'd you go?
You take a lot of damage, huh?
Tank. Woo! Getting out of there. So sorry.
We're pretty good together.
I have ult.
Hunting them down.
Nice.
Battle ignites me.
So sorry. Guys, I think my aim hacks are on.
Now or never.
I'm gonna wait for the tank to get here and then I'll... Oh,
Don't give up. This is our fight to win.
there he is.
We're on the move.
Oh, no. Oh,
Victory.
it's over. GG. Oh, I forgot to say GG's. I forgot to endorse people. I don't know who did well.
Play of the game.
Okay. Honestly, I got carried. Honestly, I got carried. If you don't know who to endorse, your tank and your supports are always good. I got branching out. I think that's a weekly. Okay. Okay. Week 3, week 4, week 5. I have not been playing. Usually I complete these. Usually I'm done before the mid-season. I think mid-season's right now or next week. Not sure. But geez, I am very behind. I need to play Stadium, complete 45 games in unranked. We're doing this. I am not gonna queue all roles. Never, never, never happening. And then complete games. That's all I can do. Oh, this one too. Complete 15 games as heroes not in your top 3. I'm pretty sure my top 3 is still Mercy on a Life Reaper. Tee. You went up by a lot. I want this. I want this. I love her. And then the bat wings. Oh. It's cool. The devil hack? And then she has a matching one with Genji. Oh my god. Oh my god. I used to like play around with Widow's model because she has like the ponytail. Now Genji has it too. I used to just sit here and like dissociate while doing this. This doesn't count, does it? That doesn't count as a matching skin.
For your map.
Weren't we just here? I don't want the other maps though. I don't want to play the other maps. Someone on our team voted for New Junk City. I was the only... It's my second time on this map. That's okay. I guess.
Welcome to Esperanza.
Forced to play Kiri. I think she's still pretty far from being one of my first... Not first, top 3. Maybe I'll do one stadium game.
I'll find my own path. If we do this right, they won't even know what
But
happened.
if I don't get Juno, I don't know how to play. And
You can't?
I'm a Juno one trick in stadium. I could try Mercy. Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
We'll show them a trick or two.
Wooshi.
Hey
Hello.
there.
I'll cast a spell on you.
Yes. Carried on the
Uh-huh.
wind. I'm here. Restoring balance.
They're on fire. Oh, a life weaver? Maybe I should Ana. But Ana's in my top 3.
Got one here. Our robots in the lead.
Rat, turn around.
Carried on the wind.
Oh, brother.
Washed away.
Oh, brother. Mercy.
Breeze brings relief.
Tactical visor activated.
Let the Kitsune. They're not there.
Let the kitsune guide you.
Get the Mercy, get the Mercy. Okay.
sharpened.
Hee.
Enemy spotted.
I'm doing a lot more shooting this time, at least. Maybe I'm getting used to the game again. Oh, where are you going?
You're all good.
She's rezzing, she's rezzing. Oh no, not me. Not me in your sight. I didn't get a notification for a raid. Hello. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for the raid. How's your stream? Welcome in, everybody. How are you? I'm so sorry, Life Weaver. I'm hiding. And we win again. This was faster than last time, at least. Was there an alert? I didn't see it. Was there an alert?
Play of the game.
Thank you for the raid. I appreciate you. I hope you had a lot of fun streaming. If you need to go get water or eat or rest, feel free. I didn't see any alerts. Oh no. Something is wrong. Something's broken. Something's always broken. Let's see. Queued. Why is it queued? What? That's weird. Can I play this? Now that's cute. What's going on? Hold on. Let me refresh. I wonder if it's because I closed stream and opened it again. Is shield mode on? Is it on? No, it shouldn't be. Oh, it is on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! I'm so sorry. Okay. Gulp! What happened? What happened? Everything's going wrong. Ah!
Vote for a map.
I am so sorry. I don't know what's happening. I'm not a streamer. Smile. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Thank you for the raid, Seraph. I appreciate you. Welcome in, everybody. Hi. Hello. Stream actually just started right now. Teehee, smile. Beginner streamer, by the way.
Welcome to Junker Tower.
I'm out now. Thank you for stopping in and coming in with the. If you were here with the raid, welcome and take care. I appreciate you stopping in to say hi. Okay. Genji Guzzler. People's names are interesting, and it's a mercy too.
I'll find my own
Okay.
path.
We hunt foxes where I come from.
Is chat
Where I'm
working
from,
though?
the foxes fight back.
Refresh. Test. Okay, nothing is working on my end. Because the chat box isn't popping up now either.
Alright.
What?
That was an adventure. Sorry about that.
Don't be. You
You
were
were
worth
worth
it.
it.
What is happening?
5,
Ah,
4, 3,
ah,
2, 1. Attackers incoming.
this is so weird. Nothing's working. But at the same time, enough of everything is working that I can stream. But nothing else. No! Why did I see that coming? I didn't even know they had a widow, but I was like, oh, she's out in the open. Guys, this might be a loss. Oh! Okay, wait, she's coming from you. She's actually diving. Oh! She's diving. She's diving and it's scary. No! I had like 1 second to me. I could anti-dive, but that would be scary,
The spring
wouldn't it?
flows anew.
I could brig, but I don't know how to brig. I mean, I do know how to brig, but I'm not a good brig.
Soothing your wounds.
Let's make it see.
Mercy, why?
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Or nor.
That was interesting.
Greetings.
What's up?
What's up? I should swap, but I don't want to. If we lose, we lose.
My senses are sharpened.
Oh, one of these kunais will hit you. Oh, is it just us? Wah.
Let the kid
She's eating all my kunai. Wah, I had to reload! Mercy, mercy, mercy. Oh god, okay. Very risky reses. Over where? Over where, Mercy? Why does Warframe give me 100% bonus platinum coupon when I'm broken? Can't buy anything. Oh! They know. They time their sales specifically for when your account balance just has. Ah! I couldn't see you. Just enough to not have enough, but enough to make you want to spend.
Gotta stop that payload.
That's how these sales work. They always know. Oh, chat isn't showing up on stream. I'm sorry, guys. Something is always wrong. No! There is. Should I go over there and die? No.
EMP activated.
Why? Okay. I don't know what you expect me to do here. Mercy, what's happening to you? Oh, she tried it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. I'm so sorry. Help me! Oh. Oh, our Mercy isn't doing good. I think, yeah, the dive is working a little too well. I don't want to brig.
flows anew. Might get to you.
Some days you just want to fly around, and that's fine.
Enemy here.
Unfortunately, I missed all my shots.
Heroes never die.
Oh my goodness, they're up
Over
there.
there.
Mercy, don't do it.
Soothing your wounds.
Mercy, don't do it. Who keeps talking? Stop shooting me! I'm a baby. I have ult. I hate you. Who is that? Oh, the Genji. Against Juno? Is Juno bullying the Genji? That's funny.
I'm on fire.
got you.
Well, can't do anything free there. She got smushed! Okay, that was a bad choice.
Will.
Oh, she got the whole team though.
Time to try again. Like a gentle rain.
Mercy is pew-pewing. Their Mercy is pew-pewing. Oh, she's won. I could have prevented that. I should have thrown my Zuzu, but... I don't want to ult right here, you know?
The breeze brings relief.
Their spawn is like right there. Guys, can we back up? Okay. She said yes to me and I thought I was talking in-game. That's so scary. I should turn off my... Guys, I don't want to ult. They're pushing the payload! Oh, a sim.
I licked my wounds.
Oh,
Let's go.
uh-oh, uh-oh.
The dragon becomes me.
Okay!
Be careful, Shimada.
I'll just sit on point, I guess.
I see.
Let the kitsune guide you.
Ah! I can't tell if she ate my Suzu or not. Ooh, wait, that hurts. Beam hurts! Oh, thank you. Oh no. At what cost? Okay, I will back up. I'm sorry too.
The spring flows anew.
Baby Diva. Ah! I missed my teleport.
Shimada. Got one here.
No, Diva's back in back.
Powered up. Nice.
Diva's doing everything right. Oh, 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 wait. Mercy. I'm so sorry. Oh my god. There was nobody to TP to.
60 seconds.
Don't res me. Please don't res me. Oh, she died. Wait, we have a Genji in our team. And our Mercy's name is Genji Guzzler.
That was interesting.
Crazy.
I'm with you.
Oh no. Oh no. Stay on the sides where I can heal you. Why are you... I don't want to go. No! Mercy, 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 mercy. No! What? Nowhere is safe, apparently. I thought I was safe. I can ult from spawn, I believe. Let me respawn so I can ult. Nah.
Play of the game.
GG's. Their diva was really good. Holy heck, she only died twice. I don't know who to endorse. I don't know. I don't know. Crazy. Okay. 7 Have I already played 7 games? Or did my wins count as twice? As 2 wins. Or double wins, I guess. Bleh. It's not working. I don't know why. Wah, 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 wah. Let me try. Maybe if I redeem something, it'll tell me. Oh, okay, that's still working. I don't know. Everything's weird right now. And then... I don't know. Because Twitch is telling me that shield mode is still on, even though it's not. Oh, what did I do? What did I do? I cleared my own chat. Again. Okay, wait, it's still here. You have to refresh the page. I did refresh the page, and I thought that my chat wouldn't be there anymore, but it's there. Okay. I also didn't see that someone followed. Thank you so much for the follow. I know you said you're heading out, but thank you. Sorry. I like Rialto. I also like Suravasa. Wow, 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 wow. I think it's my OBS. Something's wrong with my OBS. Cause nothing's showing up in terms of alerts, and the chat box isn't working.
Traveling to Suravasa.
What?
Prepare for
Uh-oh.
battle.
Someone took Kiri.
Select
Who do I
your
play?
hero.
Guess we're going with Iyari. Iliari, or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce her name. There's a cat wanting my attention. Okay, so I remember how to play. This is, yep, and then, yep, and then her perks, rapid reconstruction, and
Take
sunburn. Yep,
But we'll get it done.
yep, 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 yep. I remember. And then my aim. Yep. Got it.
You can still be good. While being up to
You like my crosshair?
Flashpoint. Mark.
Has nothing to do with helping me aim better. Everything to do with being cute.
Stay near my pylon.
Oh god. They have...
Positioning healing pylon.
I got the objective.
Silly human. Stay close. I'm trying to help. Healing pylon deployed.
Alright.
Stay near my pylon.
Just shoot where they're coming in from. Oh, very effective over there.
Working on your injuries. Keep close.
Turning up the heat.
Ah! They have so many skinny characters, it's hard to aim. Aw, Torb. Oh, they're right here.
Enemy over here.
Well,
Let me see.
my pylon's down, so I can't do anything. Sorry.
Healing pylon deployed.
Rapid reconstruction. Stop destroying my pylon, you bully.
Mark.
The objective.
Secured.
What's his name?
Next flashpoint. Go.
Guys, this is the wrong way. Welcome.
Got it.
Show them what you've got.
Oh! They left.
Keep it together. Flashpoint unlocks in 10 seconds.
They have a lever.
My ultimate is
Positioning healing pylon.
No, 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 you don't. Don't shoot me. Oh no. The pylon's still there. Oh, the turret.
feel all warm inside.
Don't worry, guys. I have the objective. They dodged it. Aww. They're not very grouped up. Oh no, my pylon.
Healing pylon out.
GG. No, it's too serious.
I was made for this. Focus on the objective. Stop pushing yourself. Healing pylon deployed.
I want to play more Brig. Hello.
Flashpoint unlocks in 10 seconds.
Cerca para que pueda curarme. Positioning healing pylon.
Oh, can they see that?
In tip-top shape.
Oh, it can still heal from outside. Interesting. Wow, ignore that miss. Outburst.
Healing pylon out.
I am.
You're hurt. Let me see.
What? Don't shoot me, I'm scared.
I feel all warm inside.
Healing pylon deployed.
Whoops.
Let's kick this off.
Muéstrame dónde te duele.
Oh. Oh. Poor Anna. Oh, we haven't really died much, huh? I just had to say something, didn't I? I just had to say something. Now look, we all have it there. Except for Hog. I'll be right there, buddy.
Healing pylon out.
Oh shoot, why did I thought he was dead. Oh,
Victory.
did they leave point? I guess so.
Play of the game.
I liked... Nah. Who's another goat? Oh, the Torb, I guess. Damn. Bullied? Unfortunately. Where's that emote from? What? I didn't know I had that emote. Still. 9 games. Weren't we just at 7, or did I imagine it?
Vote for your map.
Is it doubling if we win? I'd rather Coliseum. No! Someone on the enemy team voted 2 people! You guys are trolls. I don't want Clash. Yes!
Arriving at Conseil.
Hotel Fellini.
Prepare for battle. Select your hero.
I like instantly go for Mercy. It's just... Two very hard to heal people. It's fine.
I'll find my
I
own
think I
path.
need to refresh my
Overwatch
OBS,
begins,
but I
Cassidy.
don't want
Haven't they
it
proven
to
unworthy of your talents?
Well, it's that or
I
spend the
don't
rest
want
of my
this
life
stream
passed
to
out in
end
various
halfway
diners.
through.
There are other options.
Oh
Sorry,
no.
5,
Talon's my third choice.
3,
Someone saying hi. Hello.
1. Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
Anybody?
I'm here to support.
Hi.
Hi. Kira kira beam. Konnichiwa.
Fostering you.
Hello then.
How's it going? Hello.
I bet I can get this cast. He's just standing still. Oh buddy. Oh buddy.
You're taking the robot.
Okay, okay, Mercy. I can Suzu that res. Someone back there's one! Ooh, okay. He's gone. Whoa, Orisa. How long were you back there? Oh. Your cast is kinda... Oh yeah.
Feels like sunlight, huh?
Take him out.
Ooh, Tracer, be careful. No thank you, no thank you.
I feel all warm inside. Got one here.
Or poor Mercy. Ooh. Ooh, wait.
Barricade's moving.
Oh, I got him. Am I hitting my shots? I think I am.
I'm on fire.
Oh.
Let the kitsune guide you.
Oh. I can Suzu this. No, I can't. No, I can't. She held it too long.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh.
I'm back.
Oh god, he left. I don't like this. Oh, the mercy killed me. Okay, Becca. You know how some names just sound like something? For me, Becca sounds like a cheerleader name.
Hello there.
Force onwards.
Watashi ga mamoru.
The cats are fighting behind me. hear a Junkrat kind. No.
My senses are sharpened.
Okay. Okay. Oh no. Oh no, Mercy. Okay. So I'm gonna go.
Hey. Thanks.
Oh, buddy. Where'd you go? Either a cheerleader or like a soccer player. Maybe I'm thinking Beckham. Isn't that like a soccer player last name? Yeah. I didn't do anything.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey there.
Hello there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you, kind.
Thank you. Oh, my team is so nice.
Ultimate's ready.
Oh, Noah. Poor Noah.
Robot pushing.
Oh, she has the Appa. She has ult. I'm so sorry, Mercy.
The enemy.
Better to die then than be staggered, right? Right?
Time to try again.
Hey.
Not crazy enough.
Oh. Wait, why didn't my thing work? Why didn't my Suzu work? No. Ah! Mercy, don't do it. Unless you want to. I support you.
Let the kitsune guide you.
There's her shield. She's specced into the shield. I got Mercy.
Soothing your wounds.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey.
Hi.
Pushing the back.
If you have a tank like Doom and Ball, you just have to have a team that can keep up. Whoa.
Feels like selling, huh? Battle ignites me.
The shield at nothing. Oh no. I'm distracting. So sorry. Oh no!
Enemy here.
No! Thank you for the like, Cam. Mwah. I see that lifeline. Is that lifeline?
On my way.
Oh,
Feel stronger?
I am.
I don't feel safe.
What's up?
Hiya.
Sustaining augmentation.
60 seconds remaining.
Over here.
Thanks for the boost. That was easy.
Oh, he still died. Oh, wait, I'm hiding. Okay, wait. Let's go.
Thanks.
Scary. Is that a Bastion?
Got one here.
Leave me alone! Everyone just ignored the bird.
Not
That's
allow
fine.
them to keep the robots.
It's okay. We have final fight here, and then they'll run out of time, and just don't let them keep pushing.
10 seconds remaining.
Oh,
Enemy spotted.
he pushed them back into the point. Yeah,
Don't let them take the robot.
I can emote too.
Victory.
Wait, close emote so I can ult. Yeah! I like the Mercy. I wanted to
Player of the
also
game.
endorse the Tracer.
Meteor strike.
Ooh, canceled the Mercy res. Almost. Almost caught the ending. The ending celebration. Now that was a play of the game. Okay. What were we at last time? Was it 9? So it is wins do grant double progress? Is Doomfist actually considered a tank now? Yeah. Yes, in the sense that he can take space for his team and disrupt the enemy team
Select a map.
enough for the rest of the team to take out the rest. Does that make sense? I like Blizzard World, guys. I drink Bevy. I still don't like having him on my team because it's kind of like a coin flip if they're good or bad. You just have to have a team that can keep up. But a lot of the time, if there is a Doom or a Ball, they just play
Arriving
solo
at
and the
watch
rest of
point,
the team
Gibraltar.
gets rolled.
Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Oh my god, Gladys. Oh no. Is this the same Doom or a different Doom? Heisenberger. Okay. This is kind of like the same team comp as before, right? Oh no, we had a
Stay in
Tracer
sight, and I'll
and
keep you
something
safe.
else. But a Cassidy towards the end. I don't know if he stayed. Yeah, he was Cassidy the whole game.
I hope they put up a fight.
Hello there.
Mini, hello.
The best laid plans have backup plans.
Stay close.
Did you guys hydrate or was it just me?
If you stray.
What is that? I think a Freya?
5, 4,
A Freya Mercy.
2, 1. Attack commencing.
Oh,
Let's send a message.
Keep it moving.
The breeze
watch me get sniped.
brings relief.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I love that.
Disrupting.
Okay, aim. They have 2 snipers and I'm scared. Snipers? Sharpshooters? Oh, I hit her. I think. I hit somebody. Uh-oh. No!
Like a gentle rain.
There's a widow somewhere and I'm scared. Wah! Wah! Wait! Guys. Okay. No shooting me, no shoot.
Efficient design has worked. It's go time. Let's move this payload.
Oh, I'm actually not DPSing that much. I don't know why I chose that perk.
Cybernetics regulating.
Chat is not working for Ven. You know, everything's going wrong today. I really wanted to do story. I feel like I'm close to the end for Dune. I'm almost done, I think. And I'm like looking for a new game to stream, but Dune wasn't working. And then now OBS isn't working, and now Twitch isn't working. Hi, hi, hello, welcome in.
I feel all warm inside.
You're welcome.
Wow. It's okay, guys. I have the payload.
The breeze
I'm
brings
just
relief.
I'm on fire.
goofing around.
I'm on fire.
Whoa, everybody's dying. Oh no. Okay, I can ult now.
Let the kitsune guide you.
Efficient design at work.
Open sesame.
Enemy here. Let's get the payload going.
You know, it's a wonder I can hit anything at all. I actually have to squint to see that far.
I'm on fire.
Ah, the mercies are talking.
I've got you.
Which skin is it? Which skin?
It's go time.
Enemy spotted.
My greetings.
I want to see two. I want to see two. Oh, she got sniped. Oh no. Yeah, okay. I'm falling back.
Nah, checking in. What's up?
Wait, I want to see. Is it the one? Is it the one? Is it the one?
Hello.
It is. I want that too.
Get on.
Hey,
Incoming.
There's a widow here somewhere. No, it's not. Actually, it is. It is high noon. You're right. Am I hitting anyone? No. Am I gonna keep throwing kunais? Yes. Oh god. Mercy, 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 mercy. Ah! Mercy!
Heroes never die.
hi.
We no longer have a Dune. We're looking into the issue with some worlds in North America region that are experiencing outages. Ah, so I'm not banned. I'm not banned for going under the map. There's a Reaper somewhere. Alright. I don't want to ult yet.
Thanks.
Watch for mercy. Watch for the mercy.
Let the kitsune guide you. Feels like sunlight, huh? We're pretty good.
I may have ulted too soon.
Underestimated me, huh?
Ah, maybe not. Teehee. Oh, I liked the marquee. Look at that skin!
Play of the game.
Who knows? You still might be. No, don't say it! Don't jinx me.
This ends now.
Hanzo strats on King? What do you mean? What Hanzo strats? You think I know strats? I just heal and left click. And if somebody walks into The line of fire, that's their fault. Slippery healers. I can play a non-slippery healer. I can play Anna. Most of them are slippery though. Oh, Zen's not very slippery. Anna and Zen. I don't know how to play either. Actually, I know how to play Anna. Not great. But I don't know how to play Zen at all. I'm horrible at Zen. Vap I kind of know. I should really like actually branch out. What challenges do we have left? What?
Choose your map.
Choose your map. I like... I don't know what I like. I'm fine with anything. Hey, it's spoons again. Branch into tank? Nah. I am not a good tank. Playing tank requires confidence. Do you think I have any of that? Nah. I don't know who to play. I'll let you choose first. Play Sombra? Oh my goodness. Playing DPS also requires confidence. Come on. Oh. Honestly, I don't know who to pair with that.
I'll find my own path. Watch your flanks. They might try something.
Kinda wanna make an alt. An alt account and not touch support on it at all. I was 3 years old when I learned. Glyph that is named registered loser? What? I don't know anything about Warframe, so sounds like... Okay, in this game there's a title called Bottom 500. And I had it on for the longest time. The moment I unlocked it. Sniper! Oh. Okay. Shooting that Mercy was just on reflex. Shooting that Mercy and killing her was reflex and not because I was aiming, okay?
You take a lot of damage, huh? I'm grateful.
Do you get it by actually being... No, I think it was like a joke. A joke title. Oh my goodness! Oh, I'm covered. Smile. Run away. Back up. Back up. Back up. Sniping. An account where I only play tank, and if I get DPS, I only play Widow. What do you guys think? I don't know how to get an alt account though.
Under my protection.
Oh no.
Step right.
Hey, I don't have I don't have Susie for that. I Susie the wall.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Watch me miss all these shots.
I'm on fire. Objective mine. Carried on the wind.
Are you serious? Oh. Okay, wait. Wait, no! swift step was on cooldown.
Let's get back to it. I've got you.
Oh. What?
Bring in the rain! Oh, let's break it. Damn!
Sure, why not?
Just say something. I'm here. Wow, I feel all warm inside.
Aha.
Restoring balance.
Aha. Oh, we got rezzed. Ooh. Ooh. Need tag stickers.
Kaiki.
Oh no, oh no. No! Too late. Aha. Get the mercy, get the mercy. So for this game, mine is Royal Pain. You can see under my name, and then our tank is Grave Robber. Thank you. No, thank you.
Step right.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Oh, thank you so much, Lucio.
One.
That was a good round.
Score.
The Lucio booped Brian into the thingy so he wouldn't squish me.
Wow.
I think
are you, like, a
this
real
season
cowboy?
there's
Do you
one.
have any cool stories?
There's a title
Sure
that's
you're old
noob.
enough to hear it.
I'm in my 20s.
Give it a few years.
Oh, I swear that voice line is because people keep infantilizing
5,
Venture.
4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
I would prefer no links in chat. Sorry. Woo! How did I lose like over half my health? Oh yes, thank you so much for asking first. A lot of people just... It's good to know. Whoa. Lucio, no! I left him to die. Oh.
Objective's mine.
Okay. I'm aiming, guys. I'm aiming. Support is a dangerous profession for real. Or nor. Or nor. I
Restoring balance.
missed. How did I miss that? He was right in front of me. Or nor, or nor, or nor, or nor.
Kaiki.
There's somebody here. I'm scared. Nope.
Stay dead this time.
Like a gentle rain.
Okay. My team is all over here. Maybe I'd be less scared if I was with my team.
The breeze brings relief.
Everyone's okay, right? Oh, did my Suzu not count? I swear I Suzu'd.
Got you. Oh, I feel all warm inside.
Did people finally learn how to play as a team after all these years? Depends on the team. You'd be surprised. Oh god.
They're on the objective. Push them out.
Okay, they took the point.
Hear my bell.
Mercy. It's just a murder hallway. Okay, at least I have the least amount of deaths.
We've got this.
Ocelot! The glyph makes me think of some of the older funny stuff that's happened within the Warframe. What is Warframe? Does it have mechs? Too soon. It's okay, I'm out of it. I can ult. Oh, doesn't matter. We win! Don't say that.
Play
There
of the
wasn't even a soldier. Snar? Meat. A meat suit covered with steel. So, Max. So Max, right? Does it have to do with... What's the one that is in the Apex universe? Am I thinking something completely different? Listen. I'm just a girl. I don't know these games. All I do is play Minecraft. I actually haven't played Minecraft in so long. Destiny 2 is cooler, brother, but still different. Interesting. I also haven't played Destiny, though I've seen a lot of people playing it again. I used to not have anybody in my following list, except maybe Seraph, play Destiny, and then now I have like 3 or 4 people playing it. Is it the kind of game that you can come into, or is it only really worth it if you've been playing from the beginning? Made out of infested flesh that grew steel on top? Ew! That sounds gross. Warframe or Destiny? Destiny. Destiny 2. I remember going to a convention and getting like codes for cosmetics, and I just gave it to my friend that played it. It got released in like 2013. Destiny 2? No idea. Destiny 2 you have to pay for. Oh. Overwatch 2 is free now. If it's free, doesn't that just mean that they make their money off of cosmetics? Are the cosmetics good? More free to... Is F2P free to play? Friendly and Destiny is free to play, but a lot of it is more paywalled. Oh. Like expansions? Or you have to pay for story or something? Is it pay to win? Unfortunately, another game like that I know is Guild Wars 2. One of the reasons why I haven't been able to go back to it is because the story... You either have to be playing consistently to unlock the story for free, or if you have a life, you have to pay for it. If you have a life and you can't play it every single day or whenever an update comes out, you have to pay for it. And all of it really adds up. I know there's a lot of sales, but you... Havana. I forgot to vote again, didn't I? I don't even remember what the other ones were.
traveling to Havana.
I'm pretty sure that I'm like two expansions behind, and each expansion has like story quests. At least 4, and each one costs money. And I want to keep up with the story, but at the same time, oh, we're defending. I love nuggets. Me too, guys. I'm getting hungry. I'm getting hungry.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
I move quick. Keep up if you like.
Huh? Don't read chat. Anyways. What was I gonna say?
Are you taking care of yourself? I'm fine. I put in hours like
This
this all
Mercy.
the time back
Oh,
in Korea.
I actually hate this Mercy
That's
skin.
exactly what I'm worried about.
Her like, her hair is just like a void, you know? I don't even see. I don't even see the textures in her hair. What was I gonna say? I swear I had. I had a train of thought until I got distracted.
Attackers incoming.
You don't pay for story or anything. The majority of stuff you pay for is cosmetics. Ah.
I've got you.
I prefer games like that.
No, about the payload.
Games where the content is free, but the cosmetics cost money. I think that's why I really like Once Human. That was the other thing we almost played today.
Draw strength from nature.
Because if the content is free, I'm more likely to spend money on it. Except, I have an outfit for my character, so I'm pretty satisfied. I have not spent money past that. No!
The breeze brings relief.
No! Leave me alone! Holy heck. Okay. They're divers. I should, but I don't want to.
Breaking me down just builds me up.
Apologize in advance. What?
The payload has
What?
reached the checkpoint.
Thanks.
Wow.
Hunting them down. Adaptive circuits engaged. Diva.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. No, Mercy. Mercy, Mercy, Mercy. Mercy, no. Oh, this is horrible. This is so bad. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I think I'm still healing. Okay, I don't know where my team is. Okay, everybody. Oh my god. Okay, I got the Sombra. I forgot to read. No! No, she still died. I missed! Go away. No. don't want you ulting. No, she ulted! Leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. Is the team dead? Oh my god, my shield's gone. Oh no! I don't know what to choose. Wait! Wait, I was reading my perks.
Its destination.
That was quick. Let me respawn so I can ult. Rally to me! Oh, I say Fashion Frame is the end game? Yeah, in Guild Wars it's also Fashion Wars, I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Went by a little fast. Distracted by Warframe and chicken nuggets? Yes. Pretty much. They spice those games up with limited skins and battle pass. Yes. There was a battle pass with very nice skins. I think the last one that I just missed had the like the French maid outfit, and I was like, oh, that's so. And then I thought I had a lot of time to grind it, but then when I next looked at it, it was gone. I don't know what the current one is now. Something retro. Back to titles. I think we were talking about titles earlier, but one of the like min-maxer as a title. Wait. No.
Select a map.
I'm trying to show something, and it's not here. I can't see battle pass from here, but I think one of them is noob, like NO0B or something like that. Everything is free if you can grind it. I don't have the time. The Tracy for your time, yeah, but arguably the game is not necessarily time gated, so you can play at your own pace. That's nice. I don't remember what game it is. I think it might be. No, I don't remember it. I don't remember the name, but you can switch between battle passes. But I think you have to like pay for it. Not pay for it.
My own path.
Because you can earn the currency in game by playing, and then you can like
They
swap
won't even know what happened.
to different battle passes in the past. I don't remember what it is.
No unnecessary risks. Follow the rules.
At least you guys get cosmetics. In Dune, everyone looks the same.
They have this coming, so let's give it to them.
The heal occurs on melee damage, and it only happens for a little
5,
where you were. You hit them?
3,
For what? What? Thank you for the like, Miswa! I love you. I hope you're having a good day. You can grind for premium currency. You can grind here too, but it's like in the battle pass. Oh my god, I wasn't paying attention. I'm so sorry, team. I'm waiting for a ridiculous shiny swag. Yes. I want, cause in
Draw strength from nature.
no. What's happening to my team? Am I just really not paying attention? Okay. Okay. Wait. Let me go, please. It's not a lot though in the battle pass. I really liked Apex's system before. I think they changed it now. But before, I don't think I've spent any money on Apex except for maybe one thing. But I played it enough to be able to buy the battle pass, and then oh my god, wait. We're leaving behind our tank. Our tank is a doomfist, so okay, 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 okay. Safe to say this team is not keeping up with the Doom. Oh, okay, okay, that's scary. And it's not like I'm not healing, because our Mercy has the same amount. Okay, I follow the Doom. Maybe not.
Heroes never die. My senses are sharpened.
Okay. Just jump over. No! He got both. Ah, Mercy. Her res got cancelled. God damn. Okay, what's going on?
That was interesting.
I bet that's play right there. Whatever that Junkrat just did, I bet that's play. Because he killed 2 people, cancelled res, and then killed 2 more? I think we mentioned how players know how to work together now, and suddenly my team is not.
Minor perk unlocked.
Hunting them down.
Is that theirs? I'm missing all my shots, that's okay. Whoa. Okay. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Careful, that was scary. It's snowing. Oh no, he's spamming it.
I'm here.
I'll see about deleting that 15. How long was it? 15-minute stream that I did before this one when Dune wasn't ranking and I thought I was banned. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I'll just not upload that to YouTube. But this one, this VOD will go to YouTube. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Heroes never die.
Get the mercy, get the mercy, get the mercy.
Enemy here. Let the Kitsune guide you. I'm on fire. That's box power.
Scary.
Thanks for take some time off.
I've got her.
Get out of my way, Ro.
See, I can try hard when I want to. Ooh. Drop. Being platinum. Ooh.
I'm here.
Is there just a market for that? What? Ah, man. Who left? Oh, one of our DPS left. No, 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 no! Why did I see that coming? Oh no, Mercy!
Let's get back.
I wasn't paying attention to how. Oh, this is the new skin.
The name's Cassidy.
Pretty. I bet she's leaving too.
Feels like Sully, huh?
Oh no, don't leave, Mercy. Don't leave. Don't leave, Mercy. Okay. She is here. She is not leaving. Oh my god. Whoops. So sorry about that. I thought it was coming for us. Eh? I keep my other support. Oh, I keep my other support alive. Or nor.
The breeze brings relief.
What? Oh, and an Ana. Oh no. If we can stay alive, I can ult.
I'm with you.
No.
Let the kid.
Everybody hydrate. Trading market and then trade economy. Ooh, nice.
Defeat.
Whoa. That was rough.
Play of the game.
Yeah, it's this part, I bet. Yep. Yep. I knew it. I knew this was gonna be play. Cancelled res and then kills 2 people. Yeah. That was okay. Baby Tenno, what does that mean? I can get that soon. I want at least this in case I decide to get the mythic. What do we think of the Diva mythic?
Time to save the spirits? Game on!
I really like this because it's pink. Oh no. Mid-air Murky kill. She wasn't that far, I don't think. I don't know if I like control. Haven't been to Blizzard World in a while. I thought you got that already? The Junkrat one? Oh, the Diva mythic. Nah. I was debating it because do I ever play Diva? No. Do I like the concept? Sure. Enough to get it? Eh. Like, I don't play Widow at all, but the concept of her mythic really gripped me. So, yes, I got Widow's mythic, even though I don't play her ever.
I'll find my own path.
But yeah, I'll probably sit on it for a little while longer. I'll get it eventually, I feel like.
Are you people always the
Maybe I'll wait till whoever the next mythic is. There was somebody, I think it's fake, but somebody sent a screenshot that Lifeweaver was getting a mythic, and I'm pretty sure it's just to bait people into getting angry. So I don't believe it, because I'm pretty sure they would want to give it to another DPS.
Attackers incoming.
Baby Tenno sounds cute for some reason. It does. Nozobi, the player I referred to. Aww. Oh my god, hold on. I gotta focus. My hands are cold, so I'm suddenly not aiming. Ooh. Everything feels cold all of a sudden.
What's up?
It's okay. Game just started. We have time. All the blood goes to the brain. where there are no brain cells. All the brain cells are on vacation. See, I can't even speak English now.
Enemy spotted.
Okay, listen, Lucio, you can't go behind me while I'm struggling to aim. He's distracting us, guys. Come back, tank. I'm in danger, I know I am. Oh my god, your aim's as bad as mine. But mine is better. I'm allowed to go out, okay? If I missed all 12 of my shots and then I hit the 13th one, I'm allowed to go out.
protects you. Let the kitsune guide you.
Who has that? No!
Just needed a dash of mischief.
I'm gonna take the kunai perk because I am hitting them.
Carried on the wind. Like a gentle rain. I'm on fire.
Excellent elimination. Oh no. No!
Restoring balance.
Our Murky died. How far can we go?
Ladies and gentlemen,
They're fine. Seems fine.
engines.
Angel at your shoulder.
Thank you.
They're fine. They're fine. They're fine. I hear you again. Okay, who got hit with that? Oh no, I don't like that. I just had to say something, didn't I?
We've got this.
Comics that people drew of vet players adopting a baby Tenno player. That's aw. That's so wholesome.
Objective lost.
I take it the community is very friendly then.
Like a gentle rain. Okay, suddenly missing all my shots. This is not fair. You can't make me believe that I have good aim and then take it away when I need it. Lucio, don't bully me. Okay. One of these days. Soothing your wounds.
Major pack unlocked.
Let the kitsune guide you.
Okay. I hit those sometimes.
Strength from nature.
Oh no! Oh, okay. Oh, Moira! She touched me! Get the Lucio, get the Lucio.
Spring
Yep.
flows anew.
Oh no! Oh no! Wow. No one saw me miss. Hey, team. Huh. Go Mercy, go! Go Mercy, go! Go Mercy, go! What the hell?
Got one here.
What are you doing up there? What are you doing up there? Okay. I'm gonna go sleep. Good night, Minnie. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming with the raid as well. Where did she ult? Careful. Oh, careful, careful.
Duty is being done. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. And the rest.
I hear a Lucio.
We got it where we wanted.
Thanks for the boost. Battle ignites me.
Oh,
Ikia?
I'm sorry. Okay, to be fair, he stood still. And my crosshair happened to be on his head.
Restoring balance.
It's not my fault. I wonder if he's just saying hi now.
10 seconds.
Enemy. Don't lose now. We're almost there. Komorebi no kotoku.
Team. Team, our team. Don't. I think he's throwing.
Strength from nature. I'm on fire. Let the kitsune guide you.
Okay, wait. I will save your life, because you're holding. You're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing. Tee.
Victory.
Just Mercy? Okay.
Play.
I've already endorsed this, Mercy. Wait, it's me! What did I do? Oh, don't look at all these. Oh, don't look at that. Nope.
Just needed
Oh.
a dash of.
Okay. It was me! I did something. Community is really nice for the most part, excluding oh no. Ah, yes. I think the same can be said for Overwatch. We had a pretty wholesome community early, and then all of a sudden, when Marvel Rivals came out, all the toxic people moved over there. And we're coming here for some reason to, I don't know, do whatever. But I think they're both gone now. What do we think?
Game on.
I really like the pink. Pink purple, pinkish purple. It was you and it wasn't shame shame of the game. No. I really like this one because of the hairstyle. I don't like that it covers her face. I wish the face mask was optional. I like this coloring too. Not that I'd ever wear it, but I prefer this. Who is left that can receive a mythic that you would care about? I would love to see a May mythic. I would love to see a Sim mythic. They wasted Anna's mythic, honestly. I feel like Brig would be really cool. Not sure what it would look like. I feel like Sombra's should have a really cool one too. I also like Circuit Man. Alright guys. Yeah! Apologies.
Welcome to Rialto.
What I would really want is a skin, maybe different from a mythic, but still on the level of a mythic, but not a mythic, you know, of a skin where it's their concept art. So for Mercy, one of the concept art was a man. So yeah, and then for Ash, it was like a woman with tan skin and black hair. And then for Lifeweaver, I think it was like some kind of like druid woman, something crazy looking. I would love to have like alternate concept skins release of them. And it can still have their voices, I guess, or a completely different... I don't know. It would be really cool. But I feel like the community would like want more.
I'll find my own.
A ball! Oh boy.
Escort the payload.
Is there a Weedo? Oh, our ball's already having a hard time. Okay. Scary, scary, scary. Mercy, Mercy, be careful! Okay. Okay, we got the ride. That's all that matters. And they got him back. Okay, 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 okay. Thanks.
Nice to know you have my back.
Oh no. Oh, at least he switched. It's important for tanks to be able to adapt. Is it a good ball or I am just happy that they switched. Help juice.
Thanks for the boost.
Come on, come on. No! My thing didn't come in time. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I missed that Suzu like crazy. Oh, but I still saved him. No, never mind. I didn't save him. One of these will hit, I swear.
The breeze brings relief.
1 out of 15 of these kunais will hit. Go on, team. It's all up to you. I'm dead. No! Okay, well, thanks for the res. Let's keep. Nope. Mercy, come. Mercy, Mercy, come. Okay. So scared. No.
Okay, I learned from that. What's up?
Hello. I think the Rhine did the hello quick side. Mercy.
Under my protection. Enemy seen.
Team wants to go that way. I think I'll go with them. Oh. Okay. Can't go either way. Sorry guys, reading is hard when when I have to play. Oh no, that's scary.
My gift to you.
He runs so fast too! For what? Where are you going?
What's up?
Okay, 2 out of 15 kunai hit. Got it, I will. Who's here? God darn it.
Keep attacking until the last second. Let the kitsune guide you.
No! I tried to run. It wouldn't let me. That's all I see. Ah. I see the problem, but I'm not gonna say it. You see the problem, but I'm not gonna say it. It's all of our faults. Smile.
Play of the game.
Help juice! Nice Mercy play of the game, even if it's the other team. Go Mercy, yeah! I don't know what happened. 19 out of 27 games. Have I really been playing that much? I would want to see. I wonder what an Echo Mythic would look like. Huh. We already have a Tracer. We already have Ashe. I really only care about D.Va in this entire lineup of tanks. We already have a Moira Mythic. Honestly, I feel like Moira's Mythic was a bit lackluster as well. They need to give Moira better skins. I'm so glad I got this. But what is this? What? She looks like a little elf with that skin. Wait, I have loot boxes. So close to getting Sombra. What other challenges do I need? Okay, we're catching up. We're on week 3 out of 5 that I'm behind in. Blech. I'm already Tracer. I need like 8 tons of sugar in me to properly play. What? To properly play Tracer. I actually really like both of these. I didn't vote. Not some. Okay. We have Flank Metra. Let's see if she plays Sim. And if she does, I'm gonna go support her. I'm gonna flank with her. When Kiri becomes one of my top 3, I'll swap to someone else. Sup, chat? Wait! They're the tank! Never mind. Hope is ruined. All is lost.
I'll find my own path. You should come home, don't
Hello!
you? We need your help.
There are others in the world who need saving.
When I was a kid, you said you'd always be there for me.
You are old enough to know it's not that simple.
Ooh. I heard that they're gonna be focusing more on lore again. Like, they dropped the ball on lore, so they're doing lore again! And I'm like, yes! As someone who loves lore and consumes it like water, lay it on me. Give me all the information. I want to know everything.
We'll show them a trick or two.
Hydrate. Oh no. Hold on, my hands are full.
Secure my belt.
I think. Ooh, what? How long were you there?
Brings relief. Protecting.
I'm on fire. I don't know how to play Malga. I don't have Suzu. Never mind. It didn't matter.
Feels good, huh?
Are you supposed to like hold both keys down? Or only when you want to set someone on fire? Oh! Oh. So aggressive. So broken. I should Ana. I should Ana, but she's in my top 3, so it's not gonna count for my weeklies. Oh god, I'm going in. Okay, I'm going out. I can't go out! Just got home listening to your stream. I rushed my new home, give me an itch to play. You wanna play? You wanna play with me?
Let's get back.
I don't know for how much longer I'll be streaming. But we can play. I am so easily influenced. You mention food to me and I will crave it like crazy. Wanna play Stadium? Alright, everybody.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
It's so bright and shiny. I miss all my shots. I miss all my shots. I miss all my shots.
Nice.
I'm popular. Okay, this Curie and I will just miss out each other, I guess. That works too. You get off work at 3:30. I see, I see.
Carried on the wind.
I don't think I'll be streaming for that long. No, I couldn't TP to anybody.
It's hand.
I licked my wounds. Let's go.
I want to work on art. I have like the itch to art, and usually when I get those, I need to capitalize as much as possible. I can't draw on command, guys. My muse controls my. I have like a little button controlling me. Like, that guy? Like Linguini
Now go
and the rat. A little rat controlling me, telling me what to do. See these ribbons on my hair? That's my controllers. I want to work on. Nice! I love Sombra. She got scared. Oh, they have a ram now.
I am blasting off and down.
Oh, I guess I gotta stay.
Feels like sunlight, huh?
Someone needed healing.
I'm on fire. What else can you do? Thanks. Thank you. Thanks. The breeze brings relief. It's ready to fire. Thank you.
Oh no! What? 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 I couldn't wall climb. I got stuck. Oh my gosh. Okay. The whole team can't climb apparently.
Spring flows anew. Activating
What? What is happening in this map? Sure. Whatever. There's like a little that thing.
Hi. No. Hey there.
What's wrong, Diva? Why no?
No. I'm with you. Understood. Over here.
I love when my teammates are chatty. When they like spam the voice lines.
Soothing your wounds.
No! Someone has ult. Oh god, oh god, oh god, wait. No, I'm so sorry. No! I tried to seize it. He clicked me.
Okay. I learned from that. No.
Everyone's saying no.
My bad.
60 seconds remaining.
Restoring balance.
No. No. Oh my goodness, guys, I. I don't want to ult here. Nobody's here. I almost ulted right there. That would have been very embarrassing. Which character says Nar?
My wounds.
Let's see.
Overtime.
Maybe junk or clean? No, she says nah. Nah.
What's up? Let the kitsune guide you.
Ugh. Oh, I don't like that. Get away from me. Get away from me! Unfortunate.
Play of the game.
Okay. Actually, I really like the Sombra. Y'all lost Gef on both my last ult. I believe. Wah! How dare? My glasses! They're gone! Can't see without my glasses! Are they gone? Okay, they are gone. Just checking. Just checking.
Select a map.
I want... I don't know. I like all these maps. I wonder if Havana's still broken.
Now entering King's Row.
Attack. We're gonna be... Oh no! I think Metra's on the other team. Okay. Orange sodas. I believe in orange
I'll
sodas.
find my own path.
I don't know if my glasses will come back on their own.
Watch our flanks. They might try something.
How's it going? Greetings. Hey. My memories before the awakening on Blu-ray. Like a fading dream. But I do remember
Getting
some
faster.
things. How's it going?
Five, four,
3, 2, 1.
attack commence.
They have a Weedo.
Keep calm, keep slide.
No. A hog.
Your wounds.
They're... Widow's kind of spamming.
Be careful, Shimada.
No! I got hooked.
Over here!
I think I want to make
On the objective!
my
You with me?
my other I miss my other look.
Over there!
So maybe I'll make that one in 2D. Heyo.
Objective A captured. Escort the payload.
Wow, I almost walked into that. You see? ¿Qué onda?
Payload's heading out.
Did that hit him? I don't know. Or nor. I can't really move out of the way because the payload's right here.
Soothing your wounds.
She crouches so low.
Heyo. Enemy spotted.
I hit her in the noggin. Did you hear that? Oh. Okay. I'm hitting noggins. Okay, where'd you go? Stop! Don't shoot me! Ah! Ran away from one thing and died to another. Wow. Are there drops? Why do I have a notification? Are there drops? Wah, 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 wah. Ooh. Oh, they're all up there. They're all just waiting up there, huh? Oh! I saw that. I swear I saw that. It's okay, Widow. You can keep aiming for me.
Heyo.
Is he dead? Did the hog die?
Watch here.
Got it.
Where did he throw that?
I'm on fire. On the payload. Let's roll.
Their hog is flanking.
Hey there.
Their Widow switched to Ash.
Got one here.
Wow.
Thanks for the touch-up.
I'll just... Nowhere. What the heck?
Strength from nature. Hi.
Whoa, up there. I don't have Suzu. I don't have Suzu. I don't have Suzu.
Major pack unlocked.
I haven't ulted yet, huh? Okay, I guess now.
Let the Kitsune guide you. Hey there.
Its destination.
I'm on fire.
This poor guy.
Victory.
Wait, I can jump off. Apparently there are drops. Ooh, is it loot boxes?
Play of the game.
I really liked. I don't know who I like. Let's do DPS for once. We had a good team. I feel like we're winning a lot of our games, huh? Will I finish the weekly before I end? It's 2:30. It's time to go, guys. I do remember streaming before this. Wasn't I live and then I ended and then I started again?
Choose your map.
Last game. At 66. Hehehe. That doesn't count? What do you mean? A lot of scuffs this stream. My alerts aren't working. Chat isn't showing up on stream. Everything's going wrong.
Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Wah, 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 wah. I still haven't. Oh, what? What weekly am I not getting? Has this moved at all? Should I choose somebody else?
I'll find my own path.
It's flank Metra again.
Bad is coming.
Believe me
So
when I
let's give
say
it to
that
them.
eat.
Here I am.
Right, okay. You're on the other team.
Scanning. Yes, this is a place.
What skin is this? Is this the B one? This is the B one. The B skin. Is it? Can't tell. Maybe it's just a yellow skin.
Hey there.
Hello. I love this May skin. If May had a mythic,
5,
what do you guys think it'll be?
2, 1. Attack commencing. Escort
Honestly, with how well they're treating the China servers, I feel like they should go for May next. Maybe not next, but definitely start working on that soon. It's like Petra. No! I refuse! Aha. No. Aha. No hook. Hug no hook.
Barrier is splintering.
Nice.
Maybe it's a good thing Flank Metra isn't our tank.
Feels like selling, huh?
Where did she go? What? Where did she go? Sigma, mind your business. Oh! Apologies. This is my tunnel. Okay, they're funny. Oh no, I don't have Suzu, sorry. Ooh, mercy. I didn't get May with that.
Restoring balance.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. No! Sorry.
This
We're gonna
ends
do.
now.
I'm hitting my kunais, so I'm gonna.
New.
Oh. Widow. Widow. Widow.
Can someone move the payload with me?
Careful, Mercy. Careful. Oh my goodness. Let me. I don't know where the hog is, but
Come to me for heals.
he flanks with any role, I guess.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Wah. Wah. Okay.
Okay, I learned from that.
Maybe I've been playing Kiri a little
Might
too
hurt more
long.
than usual.
I don't want to Ana. I'm also getting hungry.
Why are we stuck?
Augmenting a shadow.
What are you guys having for lunch? Breakfast, dinner? Whatever time it is for you. Oh, I don't know why I wasted Suzu on a Mei. No!
I think we're outnumbered. Freeze! Don't move! Hey. Under my protection.
Ah, heck.
This ends now.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Wah.
We've got this. I've got you.
Can't move until the payload.
Okay, we have an Ana. This should help. Whenever they make calls like that, it makes me think they can hear me. Damn it. Oh my god, Spanish. No! I knew he was coming, that's why I turned around.
Let's get back to it.
Payload is back in our control.
So those are just sprays. Do I have? Okay, I will ult. Oh, I will not ult. Bleh.
Let me balance you out.
The payload has reached
I really want to know what skin this. I don't think it's the bee skin because I think the bee skin has like the head cover that beekeepers wear.
Augmenting a shadow.
Secured. Let's move.
It's behind us again. Okay, I can't neglect the rest of me.
Strength from nature.
He's distracting us.
What is that melody?
Let the kitsune guide you.
Oh my goodness. So scary. Hey.
Administered.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Heck off. Heck off. I'm better! Oh no.
Just by some.
the payload is approaching.
I know, I hear you, Hog. I hear you and I'm scared. Oh, I didn't heal my page.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Alright. We have one. We have one.
I don't give up that
ult.
easily.
That's fine.
Get the payload on its way.
Where are they?
Let me balance you out. Got one here.
Ah, that almost got me. Ana.
I'm restored. Be healed.
Team is so scattered. What?
60 seconds.
Ana's not really moving.
I'm with you.
Aha.
This ends now.
No. No. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
What is that melody?
Under my protection.
Okay, I can ult, but
Let the Kitsune guide you. I'm on fire. Payload's heading out.
she's one, she's one. Oh, that's my team. No, who died? Sigma, no!
Outnumbered.
Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no. No! And then, yeah. GG's. That's it for me. I think we got a lot of wins, so it's fine to end here.
Play of the game.
And we ended in Rat 66. I like this map. Okay. We got it! We got it at the end. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of hope towards the middle when it took us so long to get the second one. Or the second checkpoint. But we actually pushed it to the end. So I feel like that went a lot better than what was that? I got something. Cancel, cancel. That went a lot better than I thought it would. So that's it for stream today. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. I had fun despite the scuffs. I'm pretty sure it was just because I resetted, like I ended stream and then I restarted stream. And OBS was like, I don't like that. So maybe I don't do that. Hopefully Dune will be fixed by tomorrow. I want to do more story. I'm like craving it. I'm like shaking. Like an addict going through withdrawal. Don't forget to put your glasses back on. Oh, right. I think I have to do that manually, don't I? Does this do it? Did that work? Dune servers are back up. Just in time. I'm about to end the stream and make food, and then, well, what I really wanted to do is play a story, but I can't. So, we're gonna. What are we gonna do? Should we raid? Or should I just end? I'm scared to read. I kinda just want to go. Is it time? No. No, I'm too scared. I'm too scared. We're gonna run away. We're gonna end stream right here. Thank you, Seraph, for the raid. And everybody who stayed. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for your company. Stream tomorrow. 11 a.m. What's going on? Where's my game? 11 a.m. Pacific Standard. I usually go up for 3 hours. Maximum. Sometimes we push it. Let's open the loot boxes and then we'll go, okay? Give me something good. Actually won't get anything good because whoa, Warcraft Rumble.
I don't believe in elves. Now dragons.
I feel like Junker Queen and Reinhardt should be friends, you know? Ooh. Okay. We're at 5 out of 20 to get a legendary, so I... Ooh. Ooh.
Aw, isn't that sweet?
Should I equip that? You're not alone in here. I know. I like all of these. They need to give us more slots.
The Countess was feared by all.
No,
Rightfully.
I'm good. Alrighty. Whoa. What did I get for Doom? Whatever. I think I've seen all of it. Wait, what? No. I really like his voice lines.
Knock, knock.
He's so silly. Oh gosh. Okay, and then this one.
I will eat more dumplings than anyone has ever eaten.
He's so silly.
You must be joking. Did you bring me a present?
Did you bring me a present? I love that.
Hot cocoa? Fine. I'll have some.
I feel like he'd be an okay boss if you were also evil. Alright.